My name's Heather. I'm a registered professional counselor and certified life coach, and I focus on breakups.
My name is Kevin. I'm a clinical counselor. I'm also known as the Relationship Guru on TikTok, and I specialize in relationship issues. We're here today to answer some of the questions that have been brought up to us. And one of the questions that I get a lot of, especially on TikTok, is how do I fix the intimacy-related problems in my relationship? I would say out of all the TikToks that I do, this is the one that brings up the most questions, and people want to know, is there a way that it can be fixed?
This is definitely one of those questions I think a lot of people struggle with, in their own relationships. It's not really openly talked about.
No, it's something that is very private, that people don't always want to obviously share with others, that they are struggling in that department. Although you'll find that there are lots of people out there who are finding that the intimacy, the physical and the emotional intimacy in the relationship over time has significantly dropped off. The first is, does your partner know?
Yeah, having that conversation with them. Because they might be feeling that everything's fine in the relationship. They might not realize that the lack of intimacy is an issue. Having that conversation with them, being open and honest and vulnerable with your feelings and what you've noticed.
So you need to try to, in a safe place, be able to express what are some of your needs? What are some of your physical and emotional needs that are no longer being met? Heather, what are some ways that you think intimacy can be increased in a relationship?
I think one of the important things to remember is to have fun in the relationship. Try something new. Right? Similar to when you first got together, you're first dating, you're more likely to try new things. Try to bring some of that back into the relationship. Right. It might mean like maybe taking a dance class together or whatever you might be interested in, going on a hike, trying new experiences together can definitely help with that connection piece.
Yeah. So being spontaneous, right? Sometimes that's what happens is we get very comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with being very comfortable in the relationship, but sometimes people say, I miss that. We used to be it's so spontaneous. Now, some couples might say that I like it structured, and that's okay too. Is sometimes you need to structure time to be intimate. Believe it or not, I've even had some couples who said, every Wednesday evening is our time to be intimate. And again, it doesn't have to necessarily be physical intimate, but we just sit together and we just talk. Can I just have an hour and a half? Can you just together with no devices?
Yeah, and that's a big thing too, is that technology. It's such a huge distraction. Chat about your day, talk about your dreams, your hopes, and not just about the logistics of the day-to-day. All that is important, but it's also important to carve out that time for you to connect.
That's right. Research actually does show that couples that eat together and that are present together, actually those relationships seem to last longer. Others will find that the intimacy changes. So again, intimacy is not all about sex. And that's a lot of times where people mistake that intimacy is all about sex, but it's not at all. Maybe it is a little bit less frequent than what it once was. And some people say the physical intimacy is boring. I kind of want to be a little bit excited. I want to spice things up. So how do you do that?
Yeah, trying new things, being playful, communicating with each other. Maybe there is something that the partner wants to try out and they really haven't expressed it. Being open and sharing with one another what that might look like.
Being curious.
Yeah.
Right, with each other. But you have to have those conversations, right? And I know that a lot of you are going to say, but I've had those conversations. But you have to try to put in the effort. You have to say that I've tried to do everything I can. I've read everything that I could read. I watched everything that I could have watched. So that's another thing is when you are having this discussion, what are you communicating? What is it that person? It's not about only what you need. What does your partner need? What does your partner want? What does your partner expect? And what do they feel is missing in the relationship? I talk about research. I like to do that a lot. Research will show that eating together, couples stay together, couples who, kiss. Not that you have to sit there and be, baking out like you did in the honeymoon period.
Yeah, exactly. It's these little efforts of affection that goes a long way.
That's right.
And how to increase that, right? Because that's also something that you can try as well. I feel that's where people might either get confused or get worried is they're like, oh, I'm not feeling that connection or we're no longer intimate. Is the relationship over?
And not necessarily, right? There's a lot of relationships where couples are very, very happy together. and they're happy and content with their life, even though there's no longer intimacy. But that's not what's important anymore to the couple. And that's okay too. But I think it's good to have a conversation if it's something that does bother you, and try to have that with your partner.
Sometimes, this is also a good opportunity to go see a therapist. And having a therapist there can help kind of mediate that conversation. It's definitely a safe space for the both of you to open up and to really hear and understand each other.
So we invite you in the comment section to share some of your ideas on how to increase intimacy in relationships, and be able to share and engage with each other, because there might be something that we didn't cover in this video today that worked for you, or maybe that didn't work for you. Relationships and people are going to change over time, and this is even an increase of intimacy is still respecting each other's independence, right?
Yeah, making sure that you still have a sense of self outside of the relationship.
You need some time to actually miss the person. If you're together all the time and you're tied at the hip, you're never going to even have that feeling where, gosh, I really miss my partner. They'll just supporting each other. That kindness and that appreciation can go a long ways. To close it is, again, just remember that it's not always about physical intimacy. In fact, emotional intimacy is the building block for physical intimacy. So you don't really just jump to physical intimacy when there's no emotional intimacy. Have a building block for the physical intimacy to happen. That emotional connection will lead to the physical connection.
Yes, well said. Yes,
thank you.
Exactly. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and we'll definitely try to answer them.